What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, I wanted to share with you guys what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Minnesota Vikings as he thinks this football team is completely legit and a true Super Bowl contender. Now, before we show you guys what Cowherd had to say, if you guys love this Minnesota Vikings team and believe in this team, give me a skull down below in the comments section. I want the comment section to look like how US Bank Stadium is going to look Week 7, October 20th, when the division rival Detroit Lions rolls in the US Bank Stadium. So give me a skull down below, and whoever comments skull the most, I'll give you a shout out on tomorrow's show. So let's dive into it. What did Cowherd had to say about the Minnesota Vikings? And I'll just overall give you guys my take on how truly special and how good this football team is. So Cowherd said this on Sam Darnold. He says, all of his weaknesses have been coached out. All of his strengths have been coached up. I buy it. I don't think it's a fluke. Now, as we know, Cowherd, he has been a massive Sam Darnold guy since he came out of USC. You know, he was truly one of those media members who never really gave up on Darnold. Like, you know, he obviously did say, you know, he struggled to start his NFL career and, you know, he didn't play good football, but he was also in the camp that the reason he did struggle was because where he was, the New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers, and then you get him in San Francisco, you get him around Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, then he finally goes to Minnesota with a true chance to start, and then we're really starting to see him flourish. So Cowherd doesn't really think this run that he is on in Sam Darnold is necessarily a fluke. Now, he also had this to say about the Vikings team as a whole. He said, I think this is the best coaching staff in the league. They are catching really smart and well-run teams flat-footed. Yeah, Justin Jefferson is ridiculous. Through 4 weeks, I don't know if it's a fluke. So Cowherd pretty much saying right there, he believes the combination of Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell, you know, makes up the best coaching staff in the league. Now, personally, I would still have to give the nod to Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, what they have done in Kansas City, as they are the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. But specifically this year, there has not been a better coaching performance than what has gone on in Minnesota. And I really do believe it. You need to have two elite play callers on both sides of the football if you want to be a championship team. The Vikings have that. Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a top 5 offensive play caller in the league right now. And Brian Flores, I mean, I could make the argument he is the best defensive play caller in the league. I'll still give the nod to Spags over there in Kansas City. But with what Flores has done, with no real true blue chippers on this defense, like, yes, Grenard's a great player. Van Ginkel's great. But you don't have a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett. What he has done with this group, having them play as a, you know, top 5 unit so far this season, it truly has been special. And, you know, I'll talk about the defense a little more on the back half of today's show, as, you know, some people are freaking out over, you know, them technically having the worst passing defense in the league. I'll share with you guys some stats on that here in a second, but I do want to finish up Cowherd's quotes on Sam Darnold and just overall coaching. So he said Sam Darnold struggled with the Jets and Panthers. And he also said Aaron Rodgers is finding out what the Jets are all about. Then he said it's a head coach and quarterback league. There is a reason Kevin O'Connell was called the tall Sean McVay. Maybe Sam Darnold always needed a coach like this. Now, quickly on what he had to say about Rodgers and him finding out what the Jets are all about. I mean, if you guys watch that Broncos-Jets game, I mean, the Jets struggled to pick up a first down. Like, if you take away Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, like, this Jets offense is very vanilla. There's really no nuance to it. They're not using motion a whole lot. It's pretty much just, hey, Rodgers, you go save us. You go put together a drive. And that's also another big reason why I'm very confident the Vikings not only just beating the Jets this weekend, I think they are going to steamroll them. We'll have a video, full preview breaking that game down tomorrow out on the channel. But, you know, a little sneak peek. My early score prediction for this matchup against the Jets is 31-6. But with what Cowherd had to say about it being a head coach and quarterback league, you know, we've always known this. And I think, like, people, you know, viewed last year's Super Bowl as, you know, two different examples of how you can build a Super Bowl contender. You can either go the 49ers route, where you have a great coaching staff, great offensive scheme, great weapons around him, and if you have a quarterback on a cheap deal with, you know, what Brock Purdy was on, you can really be successful. And, the Vikings really remind me of the new version of the Niners when they had DeMeco and Kyle Shanahan on that coaching staff. Now, I could very well see Flores going and getting a head coaching job next season, even though originally before the year I said there was no chance at this happening. But with how elite the Vikings have been defensively and how they're, overperforming, and a lot of reason of that is because of Flores, I really do believe he has a chance to get a coaching job this next season. But, with the strong quarterback play, with the strong coaching staff, there is no reason not to think that the Vikings aren't true Super Bowl contenders. And if you have Sam Darnold maintaining this level of play, I saw his stats projected out over a 17-game sample size. It's 47 touchdowns, 13 picks, and only Peyton Manning, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Brady are the only quarterbacks to go 45-plus touchdowns and 13 less interceptions in a season. Darnold has the chance to do that. And the best part about this offense, you don't even have TJ Hawkinson back, and I just can't wait to have one of the best tight ends in the league, really being that safety net, that escape kind of move for Sam Darnold. You can just drop it off to TJ for 3 yards. Hopefully he can go pick up a first down, making a man miss or running over, a member of the other team's secondary. But, this offense, it's only going to get better. We saw how explosive they looked with Jordan Addison, and once you just add TJ Hawkinson to the fold, it would truly, truly be special here offensively. But I want to ask you guys this before I give you guys more thoughts on the Vikings defense. Are the Vikings Super Bowl contenders? Type Y for yes or N for no. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, and let me know your thoughts if the Vikings are true Super Bowl contenders. Now, I do want to wrap up today's show not debunking a terrible take I've seen out there by Vikings fans, just kind of want to give my thoughts on it. So everybody is freaking out that the Vikings defense, is ranked. Let me pull this up before I get this exactly right. Is ranked 32nd in the league defensively in passing yards per game and 28th in the league in total yards per game. Just more context here, the Vikings are still second in rushing yards allowed and fifth in points per game allowed and 10th and third down defense. So they've been good in, three of the more important defensive categories. Actually, not just good. They've been fantastic. They've been top of the league, but everybody's freaking out. The Vikings have given up 274 passing yards per game. This is, what this team is going to be. What I have to say to that would be you got to look at how these games have gone, where the Vikings over the first two quarters, the first half, against the Niners, against the Texans, and against the Packers, they have absolutely blitzed these teams. They have gotten up 21-0, 28-0, and really, forced these other offenses to just go pass happy and throw the ball over the lot. You want to also know an interesting stat about that coincides exactly with that? Oh, the Vikings have also allowed the most passing attempts per game. But, I just think this is, typical Viking fan nature to, obviously we have had a tough history. We have had tough beats. We have started off 5-0. I mean, even the 2016 season, we start off 5-0. We end the season 8-8. That was a disaster. But I just think there is just a cloud of negativity around Vikings fans. We're just always looking and trying to piece together how this team can collapse. And, I fully understand that. But, with how dominant this defense has been, specifically to start these games, I see no reason why they won't be able to maintain what they have already done. And plus, you think about, their key stats, too. Taking away the run. They're second in the league in that. If you can't run on this team, that gets them in the third and longs, and then Flores can, deploy his hellfire defense where there's 8 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage, and the other team's quarterback, just has to pick and choose. But one concern I do have for this Jets game, and even though I just said it, I got the Vikings winning 31-6, the one concern I would have is, maybe the Jets defense forcing a turnover, getting a pick six, and, really setting up their offense with a short field. And then you let Rodgers, if you are able to run the ball on this defense, you live in 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4s, then you got Rodgers, one of the best pre and post snap quarterbacks in terms of processing in NFL history. If he is able to kind of just decipher what the Vikings are running and he can just pick and choose who he's throwing the ball to, then it could get dangerous. But I also think that is a very unlikely scenario of how this is going to go. They have a simple offense. You take away Garrett Wilson as first read. You stop the run with Breece Hall. You should be successful. And I think this is going to be I don't know what word I would say to describe this type of game, but it's almost like a go get yours game. Go get your stats game, where I'm sure, Vikings will be up 31-3 late in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth, and, the D linemen, they're trying to get that extra sack on their stat sheet. The corners are trying to get that interception for their stat sheet. And I think it's really going to be we're going to flex our own muscles and really rub it in, this upcoming weekend. But I am not worried about the Vikings defense. I know there's a ton of Vikings fans who are freaking out, yada, yada, yada. They're worst passing defense in the league. It's just because of the way the games have gone. But if you look at what they've done, honestly, besides the fourth quarter against the Packers, this has been the best defensive unit in the league. And also, the Packers just had that late touchdown in the game yesterday to make the score look a little better. But overall, I'm not really too worried about it. But, speaking about the Packers, I'll use this as the real one roll call today. If you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me an F the Packers, a little FTP in the comment section so I can know who all the real ones are that watch this entire thing. Also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, the handle is @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.